And here we are, the Leaguie in studio. Mate, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. Big fan of the show. So, yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, awesome. I
Now-
hope you don't mind us dressing up.
Yeah, we just thought, we thought we don't want to be underdressed on our own podcast.
No, of course.
We thought we had an idea of what you might wear to come into the potty today. And luckily we were 100% correct. The green jacket, the shirt.
I love it. I think it really brings out your eyes, actually. Like,
thank you.
No,
Yeah,
you look
yeah,
beautiful
it's
at the
good
moment.
colour.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's lovely
I
stuff.
have lots of questions about the green jacket, and we'll get into all of that.
Yeah, we
because
will.
Keen to hear more. But what we like to ask all our guests to start with is, where did your love of sport come from? Has it always been League? Has it always been the Roosters? Do you like any other sports? Growing up, what was, your love of sport
Bit of like the origin story
Yeah.
is what we like to start with.
Yeah, well, I mean, it always has been rugby league for sure, and the Roosters. I was born into a family with an absolutely Roosters-obsessed dad. So I was a firstborn son. All my baby photos are in Roosters gear.
Yeah,
Like,
okay,
It was
nice.
never going to be anything other than the
Yeah.
NRL and the Roosters.
No choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I grew up overseas, right? So my family left Australia when I was 6 years old.
6, right.
Yeah, so really my whole childhood was overseas. I only came back when I was 18. So the NRL was my way of basically staying connected to Australia.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I sort of stayed linked to that culture and kept the accent a little bit through watching Andrew Voss and Warren Smith and all that commentate. So that's really, I think, where the love for the sport fostered. And yeah, like, I mean, there are other sports I like. I'm a big Formula One guy, but really that's more of a recent
Who's
thing.
your team or driver?
Well, team's Ferrari, but driver, I mean, you got to like Oscar, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Good.
it's one of the sports where you can like everyone.
It is, that's true, that's
I
true.
enjoy that, but I mean, even then, like rugby league is by far in a way my number one. So yeah, it's definitely an obsession.
Were you doing the sort of, I don't know where you were, but were you doing the late night, watching the games live? Were you watching records?
It was in the
replays?
Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
So it was more early mornings.
Yeah.
Sunday games were shocking. It'd be like 5 or 6 in the morning. But I used to love watching like the late night games that would sort of be about 10 a.m. So I'd watch it like while school is on.
Yeah.
So I'd just be in a
decent.
geography lesson, have like 2 tabs open and be watching Storm versus Cowboys while pretending to pay attention. So it's a miracle I did well in school, to be honest, given all that.
Now, like, obviously there's a lot of like Aussie kids that are either into the NFL or the EPL, like overseas sports, and they're getting up at random times throughout the night, which is similar, I guess, to what you were doing with the NRL. But the difference is there's probably at least a handful of kids at school they can talk about that too. They can, they're Man United v Chelsea or one of, when the big teams are playing each other, people are still talking about it. The Netherlands, I mean, even like to a lesser degree than even England, would you find people to talk about the NRL to?
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, was it isolating at all? But like, obviously it connected you to home, but was it isolating as well?
It was, for sure. I mean, for 12 years of my life, the only person I could really talk to about rugby league was my dad when I'd come home from school at the end of every day. Because, I mean, I've got 2 brothers at the time. Neither of them really liked the NRL. Mum's not that interested in it. So, like, in hindsight, it's a bit of a miracle that my interest in the sport, like, stayed for so long, I suppose.
For sure.
But I really made it a part of my personal identity. Right? So I went to an international school. So your sort of country of origin was part of who you were.
Yeah, right.
And so I'd always be talking about the Roosters, always wear Roosters jerseys at school and stuff. And yeah, no one knew what it was. There are a handful of kids that were like rugby union fans, and so there'd be a bit of back and forth there.
Yeah.
But they didn't know the Roosters. So yeah, it was a unique experience, certainly, falling in love with rugby league. But I mean, it's all I really knew at the time, so I don't really have much to compare it to, I suppose.
What is it about rugby league, the sport, that you love, that kept you interested?
Well, I mean, I never knew anything else. Like it was proper indoctrination, as most people I think follow the game passionately experience. But I think just reflecting on it, like it's the best sport in the world in terms of excitement, in terms of speed, physicality. I just think it has everything. Like take a sport like soccer, for instance, where you look at iconic athletic moments, like say Wayne Rooney's bicycle kick goal.
Yeah.
I think something like that, you get athleticism of that degree in the NRL on a much more regular basis. So I find that's entertaining, that's interesting, and that's what we look for as sports supporters. We want that level of athleticism and excitement, and I think rugby league just delivers it better than anything else.
Actually, off the back of that as well, as someone who watched from abroad, was still interested in from abroad, did your best through wearing the jersey to school to at least garner some kind of interest abroad. With all the talks at the moment in the NRL about, obviously there's the Las Vegas thing, but then there are also talks of like an opening global round and bringing rugby league abroad and getting more eyes on it that way. Does that excite you as someone who, like as a kid, imagine they bring opening round to, I don't know where it was in the Netherlands you were living.
Yeah.
But I mean, like somewhere that you could have
to Amsterdam.
at least gotten across to go see it, even if it was in Paris or something. You know,
that would literally have been my dream as a kid. I mean, so the Roosters came over to the UK a few times when I was living over in Europe for the World Club Challenge.
Okay.
And I remember going to an open training session they had before they played St. Helens once, and it was literally the feeling of like seeing your favorite cartoon characters in real life, because these players only existed on a TV.
Yeah.
They lived on the other side of the world. They may as well not have really existed. So yeah, to play in places like say Amsterdam, for instance, it would have been amazing. And like in recent years, Hull KR, the Super League team, have come over and done a preseason match over in Amsterdam. They're doing it again, I think, next year.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, so I mean, all that stuff is sort of growing over there. And I mean, I'm obviously biased towards the Netherlands, but I've always thought for Amsterdam specifically as an away day for English fans, sort of their more affordable, close version of Las Vegas.
Yeah, for sure.
would
For
be really
sure.
good.
It would be awesome. And what was the main sport that rivaled rugby league for you in the Netherlands, right? Like, what is it? Hockey? Football?
Football. Football, yeah. Look, hockey is pretty big over there, field hockey and ice hockey, but it's all football.
Yeah,
it's all football there. And especially in the sort of international circles I was in, like, you had to pick a Premier League team to support.
It's the world game.
Yes.
What was your
Sunderland.
Sunderland. Wow.
Yes.
All right. Is there
There's a bit of there's two stories to it. One's real, one's not. The real story is that I did a FIFA career mode with the club and I really liked them, and so I went with that.
that's the real one.
That's the real one.
Okay.
But I'm a bit embarrassed by the fact that I fell in love with the club on FIFA. Right.
No.
you can do
It
that.
happens time and time again on Football Manager for me.
That's true.
Yeah.
I developed from FIFA alone. I developed a love for Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Okay.
and I began to I would play as whatever club he was at, and now now he's retired, but I took an interest in every club that he went to.
He was at a lot of clubs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a catalogue of teams to support.
I was Devo when he went to the EPL and he didn't choose Everton. He went to Man United. I was like, what are you doing, mate? I couldn't get behind them. But, PSG, Milan, I was always interested in them.
Yeah, but no, the real story that I tell grown-ups who don't know what FIFA is that I'm from the Sutherland Shire. Sutherland sounds like Sunderland.
Okay.
So I just went with that.
All right.
Luckily that works, but complete lie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. But you're not from the Sutherland
No,
Shire?
I am
you
from
are.
the Sutherland Shire, but it's just that's just straight up not the reason
And you
why.
didn't want to be a Sharks man.
No, well, born into a Roosters family. That's the thing. So I remember the very few years that I had doing primary school in Australia, everyone else obviously massive Sharks supporter. I was the one Rooster. There was one other guy who was a Roosters fan. He was my best mate, and then one day he flipped to Sharks, and I never forgave him.
Betrayal.
Yeah, I still remember you, Stuart, by the way. I don't know your surname, but I remember. I've never forgotten. So it was the
Stuart
ultimate
the Sharks
betrayal.
fan.
Yeah.
Now.
Stuart the Sharks
Well, who
fan.
knows he supports? He probably switches teams every other year.
Good
True.
chance, actually.
Probably not into the Shark. Yeah, now he's probably a Panthers diehard.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think so.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Coming back to Australia then, you were 18.
Yeah.
Did you get straight into season ticket holder? Were you in Sydney? What was like that? Like coming back and like having the access to rugby league, not just on a screen at the middle of the night.
I wanted to go to every single game.
Yeah.
Every game I could. Unfortunately, it was right during COVID, so I couldn't.
What a tease.
The timing was awful.
You're on the right side of the world.
I know.
Lockdown. The government shuts you
Yes.
down. Your dreams.
And now they're going up to Queensland into the bubble.
And it was literally a matter of weeks because like Australia was COVID free at the time I moved back here. Europe was not. I had 2 weeks alone in a hotel quarantining before I could be released into Sydney. During those 2 weeks, New South Wales went into lockdown and Europe opened up. So all of a sudden, I'm then spending 6 months in the back room of my aunt's house by myself, looking at the Instagram stories of all my mates who are now free and going around. It was a rough time.
Yeah.
But no, when things opened up again, I think in my first year back here post-COVID, I went to like 45 different events, different games, a few double headers in there, magic round.
Yeah.
So that obviously counts for 8, but 45 matches
Yeah,
in
decent.
total. It was a lot.
Now, it's one thing to come home, dive straight into the fandom of it all. But to also then go a step further, become part of the game itself through content creation and creating the Leaguie, the persona, the green suit. Well, obviously, you know, when first of all, when did that all start? Like, what was the point that made you go,
Yeah,
I want to get into this?
So, I mean, as a kid, I vaguely wanted to be a YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't sports content. I mean, I had in my mind like the Sidemen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And being a kid, I just wanted to be one of them. But I've got a friend who does YouTube as well. And he obviously knew I had this massive passion for the game, and just essentially convinced me. He spoke about, the passion I had, the fact that he felt I had, you know, potential as a persona, as a character. And I was really dismissive at first of it because I thought, you know, there's so many people doing really good content in the NRL space. This is only a couple of years ago as well. So, you know, it was already quite a full niche at that point. And I thought of guys like Rugby League Guru, for instance, who know a lot more about the game, I feel, than I do, who are, you know, just fans themselves. So I thought that's sort of already been filled. But the idea just kind of stuck with me. And I was going around, I was in an airport in Italy about to get a flight. And I thought, I've got a few hours here before the flight takes off. I'm just going to sit down and think, if I'm going to do this, what does it look like? Like, what's the name? What's the colors? And I wanted a name that was kind of like Rugby League Guru a bit, like The Fan, the Andrew Voss show. And when I thought of the Leaguie, I was like, I need to do it now. That's a really, really good name.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. The green jacket, it's another Sidemen thing, really. So there's Harry from the Sidemen.
Yeah.
He always wore in his old videos this blue jumper, light blue jumper. And every single time I'm out in public and I see light blue or a light blue jumper, I'd always think of him. And I just thought that's really effective branding. And so, yeah, I wanted to harness something like that. And with the color green, I mean, like content creators like Bloke, for instance, they don't use it. Guru doesn't use it. But it's a color that is so associated with the NRL.
It is.
That's the color they use.
True.
Yep. Fox League, the
Yes,
NRL logo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, when people are scrolling quickly through Instagram, if they see a lot of green, they think rugby league. That's what I'm going to go with. And yeah, I mean, it's worked pretty well.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you ever get the crossover with the Masters Golf green jacket?
All the time.
But at that initial stage, were you aware that in the sporting world there was another famous
Yes.
green jacket out there?
I was.
Yeah,
I was.
okay.
But I mean, nowadays, all the comments, well, not all the comments, but a lot of comments I get are like, you know, oh, doing the Masters,
Yeah.
mate. Or,
Well,
all
it's
this
going to
stuff,
ramp
so.
up. I think the Masters is in a few weeks. So
Well, see, I don't know anything about golf. I knew about the green jacket, but aside from that, like I know Tiger Woods. I think that's about it. So I'm not the expert that I might look like
No,
when
fair
it comes
enough,
to the
fair
Masters.
enough.
Yeah, there you go. You just had, you know, it fits in the league. I think it's great branding.
yeah,
to be honest.
100%.
Like the whole, the logo and everything. It's cool. It's a good.
have
persona.
you got multiple jackets?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Initially, I just had one, and it was very rough for a while
I
there.
hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I think because I think of you just like Bart Simpson. Like every time I see you, you're wearing the same clothes, but I don't have to think about the laundry cycle or whatever's going on
I was
beyond that.
wondering. Yeah.
I will say it's really hard to find green suit jackets
Yeah.
that are this green as well. So I got this one from like a knockoff Chinese online website,
Yeah.
and I've had a couple that I've got throughout that time where you're taking a bit of a gamble because you're getting it on the internet, and then it arrives and it looks nothing like what it did. But
Right.
no, I've got a few, so they're in rotation.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Good.
Yeah.
All this are they the same exact shade?
They are. They
Wow.
are. They're the
That's
same. The
impressive.
same model. This was the first one though. I thought, you know,
Yeah.
for this podcast, it's a big honor. I'll whip out the original.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah,
So,
we
and I'm glad to see you
appreciate
guys
it.
have obviously reciprocated.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your
Yeah,
of
and this
own.
course.
isn't quite the exact because we didn't want to be rude, so
Yeah.
we've sort of gone for our own little our own sort of color. It's still green.
It's still green.
It's still rugby league green. It's more of like a Clive Churchill era
That's true.
rugby league green. You know.
No, I like it though.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you very much. What about as well, I guess, like, you know, growing as a creator, you know, there's that starting period where it's like you're just putting stuff out into the world. Who knows what's going to happen? Then there's the period where, like, all of a sudden I'm starting to get regular likes, follows. Then there's the period where I'm starting to not only get that result in, like, social media numbers, but in, like, you know, you've been on the Bloke podcast recently, you know, getting invited on the Playing It Simple
Of course.
podcast.
The greatest honor of my
Just to name
career.
a couple of great rugby league podcasts. But what's that journey been like?
Yeah, well, it's not really been, I guess, the way most content creators would have it because, I I mean, when I decided to do content, it wasn't for like a month and a half until I actually made my first video, because I did so much planning in terms of the groundwork of like what it would look like. I was making templates. I was learning how to edit videos. So I didn't really have so much that initial period of, just putting stuff out there and then learning on the run.
Right.
I did the learning sort of beforehand. But it has gone very, very quickly. I will admit. I mean, it's been just over 2 years since my first video. And I mean, I've done bloke now, I think about 7 or 8 times, been on the buy round. Like, and they were the big long-term goals that I had that I thought weren't realistically attainable, but
you've done it now.
I don't know what's next. Playing in simple was next. Now I don't know what to do after
Now
this.
what?
This is the pinnacle. I've climbed Everest.
Well, that's why you kept putting us off for so long. We're going, mate, you're going to be in Sydney? Maybe we could do the pod. No, okay.
Needed something
we
to aim
finally nailed you down.
Yeah.
We were trying to get you on the pod in the lead up to the Sports Shed TV charity match, of course, which we can chat. Let's just chat about it now. Because that's another element of growth as a creator. Like, you only started posting content last year, and then what is it? The year before last. But then last year you get the call up to play in the Sports Shed TV charity match. You made your second appearance this year.
I did.
We got to play alongside each other. How was that as well, as someone who hadn't grown up playing rugby league?
Yeah, rough. That was another goal of mine, to get in the Sports Shed charity match, because it's just such a good networking opportunity. You meet so many people through that.
Agree.
And it feels very, I guess, legitimizing as a creator to be involved in an event like that. So my first year, I mean, Sports Shed didn't reach out to me. I reached out to them, and just luckily they had a spot open.
Yes,
I don't think they knew who I was at the time. Most creators on the day didn't. Year 2 was a bit different though, luckily, in that department. Once you go on bloke in a bar, I think people treat you a bit differently.
Profile launches a bit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I'd never played a game of rugby league in my life before my first charity match. And it was not ideal. My stats in that first game was 0 runs, 0 meters, 0 tackles completed, many missed tackles, so many missed tackles.
Had you played much sport growing up?
A little, like a bit of soccer here and there, but I mean, and like always at school, every lunch I'd be playing soccer with my mates.
Sure.
Yep. So in that sense, yes, but nothing where you're carrying the ball, basically. So
yeah, it can be scary out there. I mean, I was describing it to people. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to play in this game. Like, it's all just like content creators and stuff, and people think it's like nothing. But then you've got like guys like Dan Nielsen out there running at you, and then there's NRL players like Takarangi and Jared Hayne out on the field.
Well,
like,
I was glad to have you out there protecting me, to be honest.
Thanks, man, appreciate that. I mean, I was on the wing. I wasn't exactly protecting anyone, but I'm happy that's the.
You take the compliment.
I'll take the compliment. I'll take the compliment.
Well, even this year, I mean, I think I had 1 run, immediately drew a high tackle, got a penalty, which we scored off. So that was my one positive contribution.
Yeah,
hey, well done.
And then got hooked after that. But I was saying to our coach, Trademark Sports, throughout the whole game, I'm happy to play as little minutes as you want. I'm not good at this sport. I'm good at talking about it, but like the longer I'm on the field, the more likely we are to lose. So luckily it worked out in the end.
Yeah.
As far as coming back for the second year, having more people know who you are as well, does that also help by? I feel like there is like the general creator community, but then also within certain clubs, like I've gotten so tight with a lot of the Tigers guys, and a lot of us were on that team. Like someone like Hainsey is like, he's like the Roosters guy, and you've obviously appeared in a lot of his post-game celebratory videos in your Roosters kit. Is also like building, just relationships and genuine friendships in that space helpful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's not too many Roosters creators out there, but I mean, Hainsey I'd now consider a pretty close personal friend. You've got Norman from Sports Shed as well. So there's a few of us. The community's certainly building. It's good, but in terms of like connecting with other creators at Sports Shed, a bigger sort of, I guess, commonality was being YouTubers. Like, I feel that there's a lot of rugby league content creators who would call themselves podcasters or TikTokers, but I very much see myself as a YouTuber. And now more and more with guys like, say, Winston Neville or Hainsey, they are getting into that YouTube space and really making that their primary thing. So we talk about, YouTube strategies and like thumbnails and all this stuff, which, I mean, it's so cool to talk to those guys, because I mean, I live in Canberra, right? Not many content creators down there. It is a little bit isolated in that department. But coming up to Sydney and being able to have those conversations was very cool.
That is the other thing. You live in Canberra. You wear a green jacket, Easily been mistaken for
Yep.
for a Canberra Raiders
Well,
fan.
the first sort of year I did content, I didn't reveal who I supported. And a lot of people were like, yeah, obviously he's a Raiders fan. It's gotta be. They're like, all the signs are there. There were a lot of hints. I wanted to reveal at 10,000 subscribers. But then I started up a Discord community for my fans. And I didn't know that this existed, but there was this feature on Discord where you could see previous usernames that an account had, one of which for me was Sydney Rooster.
Yeah, nice.
So that ruined it. Yeah. But I spent hours and hours just like scrubbing all evidence of me being a Roosters fan from the internet. Like
Really?
manually deleting hundreds of comments.
Right.
Like unfollowing the Roosters on my personal account, all this stuff. I followed you back, don't worry, guys. I'm sure you were very worried.
Yeah. Did
but
you just
yeah.
want no like bias associated with?
Yeah, that
Leaguie?
was a big part of it. I knew I'd come to YouTube with a lot of, I guess, strong takes. Like
Yeah.
I'm very pro referee. I'm very pro international game. I'm pro NRLW, and I didn't want people, I guess, like take referees for instance. I didn't want people dismissing my opinions on the referees because of the 2019 grand final, for instance, or you know, a notion that we get more penalties than other teams or whatever.
Yeah, which you do, but
Yes, of course, yes. But that's exactly what I wanted to avoid.
yeah, no, of course.
So yeah, I wanted to be judged on the merits of my arguments, and I sort of knew that, you know, like say if I was a Tigers fan, I think people might have been more receptive to that, but Roosters aren't exactly a liked club.
Yeah.
So I thought the more I can avoid that, the better. And I think it was a good decision in the end, because I remember the video where I revealed who I supported. There were a few very angry comments.
Really?
Feeling betrayed, but no,
Like,
it was good
trusted
fun.
Wow.
How do you deal with that, or how have you learned to deal with that? Like
The negativity.
the negativity and stuff, putting yourself out there. You know, you put your face to a lot of these hot takes and things,
Yeah.
and then people don't like them and they let you know. Like it's hard for any person that's putting their stuff out there on the socials.
It is, and I mean I've noticed sort of since going on Bloke, obviously it's a bigger profile, and with that bigger attention comes bigger criticism, and obviously with a platform like that, like, you know, Denon, Guru, Timmy, unfortunately he's now gone, but obviously was doing it. They're part of people's routines. So when someone else comes in and sort of disrupts that, like obviously there's going to be a bit of friction. But I guess, I don't know, I'm a pretty headstrong person. I'm confident about what I believe in and what I'm doing in the content space. So I know not everyone's going to like me, but I think I know that the vast majority of people who do like me also won't necessarily leave a comment. So it will just be a more vocal minority.
It's true.
But you're right. I mean, it's certainly not easy. And I think a lot of people certainly leave comments without really putting in the thought that there's a human being putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this
for sure.
content and doing it for the love of the game and reading that feedback. So, yeah, it can be tough at times.
Yeah, 100%.
When you say you're pro referee, what does that mean exactly?
Well, so over in the Netherlands, I was a referee for their domestic rugby league competition.
Okay.
They didn't have any junior rugby league for boys. So my only way of getting involved was through officiating.
Wow.
So yeah, my dad was the head referee in the country, and I was one of the touch judges. So
Okay.
they were really, really fun times. I loved doing it. All volunteer based. Right?
How many teams are there in the domestic league of Netherlands Rugby League?
When we started, there were 3, and about half the time, like we'd have a scheduled game, and 50% of the players wouldn't show up.
Okay, so it's
it was rough to start with.
And
Yeah.
now?
There are 6 teams, all very solid. They've got sponsors, full kits. They've got a women's national team as well. They do junior stuff. Like, so in terms of, my pro refereeing stance, that's very much through lived experience.
Yeah.
And knowing how incredibly difficult it is to officiate. And I'm sure it's 1,000 times harder to officiate an NRL game than a Netherlands rugby league game as well. So, I feel that, I've got a bit of a voice now in the rugby league space, media space. There's enough people who are critical of the refs. I sort of want to lend my voice to defending them and saying, well, look, obviously they're not perfect. No one is, but they are very talented individuals doing an incredibly thankless job. I don't know why the hell you'd want to be an NRL referee nowadays.
I think it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the worst job. They're great, but like public profile wise, there's not many jobs that you cop as much public criticism than being a sports ref.
Sure.
Like,
and so many people will complain about it without proposing a solution to the problem. And I very much feel that the more we create this negative, sort of atmosphere around referees, the less likely, kids will come through and want to be a ref. So then in the long term, we'll get lower quality referees and it will just continue as a cycle.
Yeah.
And I very much aim to turn that around as much as I can using my content.
Have you considered picking up the whistle?
I was going to say.
I mean, I did when I first moved back.
Yeah.
I think maybe now that I've fallen in love with content, that's sort of gone past me a bit.
Sure.
But
you know, Michael Chamis has shown us that a career switch is always
That's
around the
true.
corner.
Yeah.
It's always right there.
And it could be content. You could wear like the GoPro or
Yeah.
the clip on and then do match day vlog.
The mic'd up,
as an NRL
the
ref.
mic'd up ref permanently.
Well, I've always wanted to do one of the Sports Shed games refereeing.
Yes.
I think that'd be so fun. I've mentioned it a
Yes.
couple times, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean they've got proper Parramatta local league refs that do
Yeah.
it now. I think it's getting a bit more serious,
Right.
but that would be so fun.
Could you get in the
if we did.
bunker or something?
the
Yeah.
bunker.
Yeah.
The Sports Shed bunker.
Love that idea.
Yeah.
No, but I mean it's another area where I have a bit of a unique selling point in content, so I very much lean into that.
Yeah.
And then that, I mean, in terms of my experience with Netherlands Rugby League, ties into how passionate I feel about the international game.
Yeah.
And how I feel it is firmly our future. I feel all our decisions should be focused on maximizing the international game. Whereas obviously vast majority of fans here put NRL first
Yeah,
and
club
feel
first.
that that's the pinnacle.
And
So-
state of origin
Yes,
in a way.
yeah,
and
true.
for a long time that's taken away from the international
For
game.
sure.
Hopefully less so now
Yep.
with the updated eligibility rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get passionate about state of origin at all, or is that just
I
something
do.
that's just
Yeah, no, for
happens?
sure. And I get around. I'm a passionate New South Welshman. But if I could, click my fingers and suddenly Australia versus New Zealand is as big as Origin, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I feel that that's so much more internationally marketable.
Yeah.
100%.
Because like people overseas don't know what New South Wales or Queensland is, but Australia, England, New Zealand, they know what those are. So
Yeah. Fair enough.
And do you have a vision of like a 5-10 year plan on how the international game can grow and
Yeah.
like, what you'd like to see it look like? And
certainly vaguely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy for me to say this without having the numbers in front of
Yeah,
me
of course,
and
of course.
obviously knowing the politics involved. But so there was a decision made a couple of years ago to reduce the size of the World Cup from 16 teams to 10 teams. And I made 3 videos on that topic, which was very much how my career sort of took off.
yeah,
Because I was passionately against that. Because in rugby league, with those 10 teams, obviously Australia, England, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, PNG, Cook Islands, Lebanon, and there's one I'm forgetting, maybe France.
Italy.
Yeah,
yeah,
they'll always be there. They will
Yeah.
always be the 10 teams. So all these developing nations like the Netherlands, Serbia, Italy, all of a sudden the carrot that they had at the end of the stick, which was
Yeah,
World
it's
Cup
gone.
qualification, they won't have that. So
Damn.
I was so incredibly against that. And, at a moment where the NRL's boasting record profits year on year, I can't really stomach that we can't fly out another 6 teams, for the good of the international game. So very much, I think our long-term vision should be bringing those teams back in. I'd also love to see a sort of European competition. Obviously, we've got the Pacific Championships here, but over in Europe, like they do play some fixtures sort of as a pathway to World Cup qualification. But if we could get the likes of England, obviously, but Scotland, France involved, there's going to be blowout scorelines. There's a lot of inequality in development over there, but those gaps aren't going to get smaller by not playing games.
Yeah.
You sort of have to just have that teething process to then get through. So it's that kind of stuff I'd want to do, but unfortunately it's not really profitable and money is what talks. So
Yeah, fair enough. What about for you in terms of, and if you haven't thought too much about this or are just enjoying the ride right now, that's okay. But as far as your career in life and as a creator, what are your future hopes, I guess, apart from obviously now that you've ticked off the final podcast on the list, Playing in Simple? Is there anything that are still goals that you're looking at that you'd love to achieve?
yeah, well, I'll admit it's only sort of recently that I've genuinely felt doing rugby league content creation or media could be a future career for me.
Yeah.
That sort of took a bit of convincing. But so World Cup at the end of the year, right? Channel 7 have got the broadcasting rights for that. I'd love to be involved with them in any capacity. I've had some conversations, so potentially something in the pipeline there. We'll see. But obviously, a job like that for a content creator is very much what you want. Obviously, you work for Triple M. You've sort of got that as your platform, and then you can do this stuff on top of it. So that's sort of what I'm after.
Yeah, cool.
In that
That's cool. I
department,
mean,
yeah.
it is like it's a funny balance with mainstream, independent, and I think like, the awesome thing, I think like, is the growth of independent media as well. So that's like not even something to look at as like, oh, I feel like less and less is it becoming like, oh, I'm doing this, but I'd love to get into the mainstream. Like almost like there is, yeah, it's good to have a balance of both, but also at the same time, if you're making good content independently, it's like just like keep that up
For sure.
It's like
And I would never, I guess sacrifice doing my own independent stuff to then go mainstream. But at the
nor
same
should
time,
you, I don't
it
think.
would be good to have a salary.
mate,
Nobody's
100%,
denying
100%,
that.
exactly right. Great. Let's just quickly before we wrap things up, chat a bit of Roosters this year,
Yeah. Sure.
because that's your club. And we were chatting a little bit before we hit record on the pod, and I was sort of like, the Roosters, we still don't really know where they're at this year. They've sort of beaten the teams that we look at and go, okay, they were sort of meant to beat those teams based on how those teams are going. They've lost to the teams that we go, oh yeah, they should have lost to those teams. Where do you see them? What's the vibe in Roosterland?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all preseason, I was saying that coming into this bye that we have this week, we would be 2 wins and 2 losses. So I guess based on that, I sort of have to be content with where we are. I felt that it would be a big gelling process, getting obviously Cherry Evans into the spine, Robson. I thought we'd play Watson at lock a bit more than we had, but that's yet another area where it probably needs a little bit of gelling. But certainly, I mean, I'm I guess a little underwhelmed with the extent of the losses that we had. Obviously, Warriors in round 1 was quite a big shock, I think, to most people. But then with the Penrith game, like I didn't expect that we'd win, but I really wanted us to compete, and we were a million miles away. From where they were. Obviously, they are outstandingly good.
I feel
but
everybody's
still.
a million miles away from them at the
Yes.
moment.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, but look, moving forward, our draw over the next month is not too difficult. I think that we'll string a few wins together and sort of, I guess, cement ourselves in, that sort of 1st to 6th kind of area, the top 6, and then, well, maybe probably not 1st, but let's say 4th to 6th, and then prime ourselves for a bit of a upturn in form towards the back end of the year, which we always do.
I remember when Cronk joined the Roosters, and people are talking now the parallels around it didn't gel from round 1 when he joined that team.
Yes, we lost to them. We lost to the Tigers. 10 points to 8, I think it was.
Yeah.
Also, I
DCE.
think it was also James Tedesco's first game as
It
a
was,
Rooster.
and he had a chance to win the game, pass back in field. It was completely unmarked, and he dropped it.
That's true. 2 big signings in the spine.
Yep.
And similar situation for the Chooks this year.
Yeah.
Does take time, especially in the spine.
Yeah.
For that
100%,
gel.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you think they're genuine premiership contenders this year?
I do. I mean, I was very optimistic coming into this year.
Yeah.
Granted, my expectations have tempered maybe a little bit, just based on, as I said earlier, the scale of the losses. But I believe in the ability to turn it around. I think on paper, like maybe obviously Penrith are better, maybe Melbourne, but we're right up there in terms of the ceiling that this playing group has. So, I mean, yeah, I think certainly grand final should be the pass mark.
Does it feel a bit like this year, like it has to be successful?
Yeah.
Because big turnover in Lanawangani Tawase leaving, Crichton leaving, DCE's just on a 1-year deal at the
Yep.
moment.
Yep.
Like
Daniel Tupou probably will retire.
yeah.
You know,
So there's going to be a
lot.
big turnover.
Yeah.
Um,
And even in the season after, like Tedesco may well retire at that
Yeah.
point. So it's sort of the end of an era at the Roosters. And I don't know internally the faith that they have in Trent Robinson, but say, this year we crash out in week 2 of the finals. I don't know if they will see him through another rebuild. So it's a really big thing.
Well,
It's
there's a
huge thing.
great coaches available as of this week.
As of this week, yeah.
Roosters may look at.
Seabold, come on in. No. I adore,
No.
Don't even jinx it.
I adore Trent Robinson, and I want him to be our coach for the next 20 years. But being coach of the Roosters, as he would admit, comes with a level of expectation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I certainly think he sort of has to deliver. Like as I say, say we get to the prelim final and miss out by 2 points, I can stomach that. I can live with it. We had to go,
Yeah.
but we need to show something more than we have in years gone by, because it's now been a number of seasons since our back-to-back premierships, and I feel we've underachieved quite consistently in that time. So
Gotta
it's
turn
a big
it
year.
around.
Big year, yeah.
Big year. We've got something for you.
Yeah?
Let me just reach into my little bag
This is
here.
exciting. I didn't know this was coming.
We've got something for you. So, before I pull this out, hide that behind me. On the pod, we have a sporting club of our own on the pod, and so far this sporting club has only really competed in the Australian National Finska Championships. Don't know if you're familiar with Finska.
I am not at all. No.
It's one of the great wood throwing games of all time.
From your Scandinavian neighbour country of Finland.
So it's kind of
Okay.
a made-up sporting club, but we're trying to make it more or less Anyway, anyone who watches our content, listens to the pod, engages at all, is a gazelle. We are the Gazelles. We started as the Rugby League Gazelles, but now it's the Gazelles. And anyone who comes on the pod as a guest is not only a gazelle, but receives their official
Oh, here we
cap.
go. Nice.
So this is for you, just like the one atop my head right now.
beautiful.
There you go. I hereby present that to you. Yeah, then you can figure out the
Adjust as
sizing.
needed.
Adjust the size.
There we
Oh,
go.
looks good.
But you are gazelle number 26.
26.
So well
Oh,
done.
26 was the number of points Roosters scored in the 2013 grand final. First grand final I saw us win. So there we go. That's
there
a
you
great
go.
number.
My God, what a
There you
stat to
go.
pull out right on there as well.
Awesome.
But we're going to get you competing as a gazelle right now
Okay.
Straight into it.
with a game that we call Sparts. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Sparts.
I'm not.
Okay, very simple. It stands for sport darts.
Okay.
So, do you know how in darts? So in darts, you've got the board and you're scoring down from 501, 301
Yeah.
or whatever. You're trying to land on 0 exactly.
Sure.
How sport darts works is we give you a category, and then you're trying to name things from that category that will take you down bit by bit, and you're trying to land on 0 exactly.
Okay.
In as little amount of
As
throws,
few throws as possible. As
as
few
possible.
guesses as
but
possible.
you don't want to go bust. If you go bust, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No
the
second chances.
The
Okay.
category we're going to give you today is Roosters NRL caps.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Okay.
matches, NRL first grade matches played
Yeah.
for the Roosters. So for example, I've got no example, but just say,
Can't think of a single Roosters player.
no, I don't know how many exactly caps they played.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So you could name Mitchell Pearce or whatever. How many would he have played?
Oh, 200.
The ball, 200
odd?
something.
Yeah.
So if you started on 301, you named him, bang, you're down to
Yeah.
100 or whatever. Then you can keep going. Then you, but you don't, now if you're on 100, you don't want to name someone that's over
Yeah.
100 because
Sure.
you would go bust, you would lose, and we'd be so disappointed in you. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Roosters caps, you're going to start on 301. Are you good to...
I could do names
Yeah,
or I
you-
can do numbers.
Okay, you search the Wikipedia.
Okay.
It's all based on Wikipedia.
Yeah. So if you've got arguments with how many caps they've got for the
Yeah.
Roosters,
We don't
bring
wanna
it up
hear it.
with Wikipedia themselves.
So starting at 301, you obviously don't want to name a player who's played more than 301
No, there'll be a
matches to
few.
start with for the Roosters.
Yeah.
Would there be a few?
Well, I think Jared was 308.
Yeah, you
So-
don't want to name him.
No. If we'd started on that, that would have been the ultimate. Could you
Perfect.
imagine?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
have been good.
Perfect.
I think an easy first one would be Daniel Tupou. That would,
Okay.
I think
Alright.
knock a knot.
Have you
lot
got
off
a
there.
ballpark of what you think he's on for
I
the
think
Roosters?
he'd be. I don't think. No, he hasn't hit 300. I think he'd be around the 250 mark probably.
Okay. What do we got?
He's on 293.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
closer
Okay.
than you would have liked.
No. I'm okay with
We're
that.
immediately down to 8.
Yeah.
Wow.
Two dart
that's,
throw.
That's good. I'll take that. That lets me narrow it down.
I mean,
8
that's
caps.
a huge first
So you could
start
name
throw.
8 debutants who've just played the one game
Yep.
and no more. One player who's played 8 games for the Roosters. If you say somebody's played 9 or more, you're gone.
This is tricky.
It is. It is. Not a lot of margin for error.
Okay, I'll halve it. I think at this point, Cherry Evans has played 4 games
Oh, this is safe.
for it.
Well, that would be-
4. Yeah.
That'd be correct.
Yeah.
I
I think
believe
I could.
so.
I think I could confirm
In
that. without
Wikipedia. 4
Wikipedia
rounds so
confirms as
far.
well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're on.
Does that help you really?
I think it does because
Okay.
I know a few that are like really, really niche.
Well, you're on 4.
Yeah, you
Yes.
might need to pull them out the back pocket.
Let's send Brock Lamb,
Ooh.
former halfback. I think he has either 1 or 2 games for the Roosters.
Haven't heard that
Lamb.
name for a while.
It's a niche
He
one.
Has 1 game for the Roosters.
Okay.
Okay.
I was hoping he'd have 2.
You're on 3.
Okay. Junior Tupou either has 1 or 2.
Is that all?
I feel.
You sure?
Yeah, for the Roosters.
You didn't play more last year.
He has 1 game for the
Ooh.
Roosters.
Damn it! I really needed a 2.
You're on 2,
Because I've got one other guy that has 1 game for us.
Wow.
and then you win it. Because if you've got 2 guys that have each played 1 game, then that'll be it. But
Yeah, but I need a second one. How much time have I got here?
I mean, we're gonna be here for hours.
Here
we're
all
fine.
afternoon.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, I'm gonna be bold here, and try and go for a 2.
Okay.
It's not that bold, can I say?
No,
You're on 2.
well, yeah, true.
It's not like
But
you're on 93 and going for the win.
I'm gonna go with Ethan King.
All right.
Okay.
He's at the Cowboys at the moment. Sort of fringe reserve, first grade player, but yeah.
He played 3 games for the Roosters.
You are bust, my
Got
friends.
over.
You are bust.
All that hard work for nothing.
Wow. And the Tupo did so much work.
Yeah.
And then,
I
felt
needed
last hurdle.
a 2 in there. Damn,
No.
that's devastating.
damn.
What a
Well,
shame.
Oh, well, we've ended on such a terrible note. No, in all seriousness, Spart's a very tough game, all right? We very rarely ever had, we very
People don't
rarely
win
win.
very
We don't win very often. But it's been a pleasure to have you in the potty studio today. Enjoy the Gazelles cap, wear it proudly.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
look forward to seeing that iconic green jacket around the traps.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.